program is intended to educate and inform. We discuss cannabis being used as medicine, the culture, science, and controversy of cannabis and cannabis laws. We do not advocate any illegal activity. Moth Networks and their associates do not claim to be lawyers or doctors, nor do they represent themselves as such. All their comments and views are of their own personal opinion and personal experiences. Opinions and claims made by the guests and advertisers on Moth Networks are their own, and all parties agree to the Moth Network use and policy agreement. Moth Network and Moth Network associates cannot be held legally responsible for the statements of the host or of their guests. We encourage all listeners to learn their constitution, to assert their rights, acknowledge their duties, and know their individual state laws.
Welcome, you're listening to Moth 29.9 Denver, Colorado. This is the Medicine of the Herb show. I'm Rick Wainwright.
I'm Baxter P. Puff and Stuff.
And our goal here is to educate and inform the public. We will be talking to doctors, activists, business owners, and even patients of medical marijuana, like the interview we have today with Jordan Cotto, a type 1 diabetic medical marijuana patient in Colorado. We will also be keeping you updated about the current issues and advances in the field of medical marijuana. So we hope you enjoy this interview, and we'll talk to you again once it's over. What's up, people, and welcome to Medicine of the Herb. I'm Rick, and today we got a special interview with a medical marijuana patient here in Colorado, and I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Hi everybody, I'm Jordan Cotto, and I'm here today as a medical marijuana patient and a diabetic, type 1 diabetes, and I'm basically here today just to give you the education of my knowledge of how my body reacts having diabetes and being a medical marijuana patient.
Very cool.
Yeah. So,
hey, it's an important issue, because a lot of people have diabetes, so,
it really is, and diabetes, it's a hard thing, and a lot of people do have it, and there are a lot of newcomers to it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off or nothing.
You're fine.
But there's a lot of newcomers to it, and I'll be the first to tell you, it is very hard. I didn't realize how hard it really was. I say hard because it is hard, but for me, I still have that mindset of it's easy because it's just second nature to me. It's a way of life, because I've had it since child, 10 years old.
10 years old?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
22.
22.
I'll be 23 in March, and April 10th will be 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what type of diabetes do you have?
I have type 1.
Type 1?
Yes.
So, are you on the shots?
Yes, I take shots. What I take is called Lantus, a long-lasting insulin, and Humalog, or Novolog, a fast-acting insulin.
So basically, tell us what, if you don't mind, what type 1 diabetes is.
Okay, the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes?
Right.
Basically? Okay, well, type 2 diabetes is more of an obesity kind of thing per se, because that's where it's mostly found in. There's a lot of people who are more heavy set and overweight.
So
type 2 is the process of where, but don't get me wrong, it can happen to a skinny person too. It's your pancreas is what does it. So
right.
Type 2 diabetics, what happens is their pancreas creates insulin, but the body doesn't accept it. And then I remember seeing something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I met this one guy actually too when I was working. He had type 2 diabetes, and he had to take insulin shots as well. I've always known type 2, growing up, as you take pills. Type 1, you take shots.
Okay.
This guy had to do it on shots as well.
For type 2?
Yes.
Wow.
Very interesting it was. I didn't quite understand it at first, but whatever, But anyways, with the type 2 diabetes, mainly what it is that, from what I know, is that your pancreas creates the insulin, but your body does not accept it.
Okay.
So therefore you have insulin running through your body, but your body's not doing anything with it. So
that can't be a good thing.
Yeah, because therefore in return, that's why, once again, because what the insulin does is it just grabs the sugar out of your blood cells and distributes it through your body.
Okay.
And that's how it works. That's why it's called a blood sugar.
Right,
because
right.
it literally, like I
Makes
said,
sense.
takes the sugar from your bloodstream or from your blood cells, and it takes that insulin and that sugar, and it distributes it through the body. But the type 1 diabetes, should I keep going?
Yeah, go for it, please. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Just make sure. But the type 1 diabetes is where, for me, what it is that my pancreas does not produce insulin. So therefore, that's why I have to take the shots. Like I said, this other guy was type 2 diabetic, and he had to take shots too. But I'm pretty sure it had to have been a whole different type of insulin that he was on.
But you're basically saying that, so can type 2 control it with their diet?
Well, both. You can control it with your diet on both parts.
Both parts?
Yeah. But type 2 is the only one that's known of ever been proven to have been cured by your diet. I mean, literally, they said it was cured. Saw this guy on TV, he's like one of the only guys that they know of so far who did it with his diet. Because he was a chef.
Very interesting. Well, you know what?
Talk about how he would eat unhealthy and everything, and then he said, do it with the diet. Now he doesn't have to take insulin anymore or nothing. But you know, there is a story of, like, your wife's grandmother. Or, I'm sorry, mother. You know, she did it for 6 years without insulin, and she was a type 1 diabetic. I consider that just as much curing it as you did type 2. I mean, because
You are right.
you didn't have to do the insulin. You did it off your diet.
But she was the type of lady, though, that, I mean, she stuck with it, though. And
I bet you that
she
was really hard.
Oh, I bet it was.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
but
I can imagine.
you know, she was faithful to her diet. You know, and I mean, she didn't eat. You know, she ate small meals. You know, like 5 small meals a day instead of 3.
Three
you know,
big meals, yeah. 3
right.
regular
So,
ones, yeah.
but I'm telling you, she knew for this meal here she was going to eat this and this, and this meal she was going to eat a certain, you know, food group as well. You know, but she, from breakfast all the way up until she went to bed, she knew exactly what she was going to eat and what part of the, you know,
when
day.
she was going to eat it. That's the thing. You got to.
Oh, she was very.
But see, don't get me wrong. Like with your diet, you can't cure it. I mean, see me, I've got my body so I can eat whenever I want, any time of the day. I don't have to eat breakfast. I can skip breakfast or lunch or one of my meals a day. But I have seriously trained my body to do that.
Right.
Because I do a lot of working out. Like I do a lot of cardio mainly.
Because you look good, so I mean.
Well, thank you.
If anybody's wondering, you know, I mean, how tall are you?
I'm 6'1",
6'1", and you weigh what?
about 165 pounds.
He weighs 165, but he doesn't look good, you know. So I mean, you're
Well, my
you
normal
look more
weight
tall than you do.
Yeah.
So I mean,
My normal weight is 155, but that's when I don't take like creatine, just a muscle builder. In which they say creatine is bad for not bad for diabetics, but they always say with diabetes you got to consult your doctor, which is a good thing. But like I said, I've trained my body to do certain things, and that's one of the things I can take creatine because it's a hardcore stimulant. Most of the stuff that it's mixed with.
Right. So
It can mess with your blood sugars if you're not used to it. Like it did that to me in the beginning, actually. Because I remember I came over here one time and I told you that. I said I took too much creatine today. My blood sugar was all messed up.
right, because I remember you were kind of geeked out a little bit,
Yeah.
amped up a little bit.
Oh, I was super amped. But it's like a want to work out kind of amp, but amped nonetheless, I guess.
Right. So, you say you're a medical marijuana patient.
Yes, I am.
So how long have you been a medical marijuana patient?
Let's see, since I was 18 years old, so almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years on March 6th.
Wow, very cool. And you got it for diabetes?
Actually, I got it for my severe nausea having to do with my diabetes.
Explain that.
Explain.
Okay,
so what happened to me was I went to the hospital with diabetic ketoacidosis, and what happens then is that you have very high blood sugars. Mine were uncontrollably high. They said, like, I was in ICU for a couple days because of it.
Right.
Very high blood sugars, and what that does to your body as a diabetic is it creates ketones, and the ketones run through your system, through your stomach, and it basically turns like it turns into like acid, or it makes your stomach more acidic, or I can't remember the exact words that the doctor told me, but in return my stomach had so much acidity to it because of this that it literally damaged the veins throughout my stomach.
Wow.
Yeah, so therefore I have to use medical marijuana in order to be able to eat, because there's times I can't eat, I can't hold food down, it'll hurt to eat.
And I guess for a diabetic, that would be a very
it's not
bad.
good, especially if you do a shot. You know, you go and do your blood sugars, and then because I have to do my blood sugars and take my shots before I eat. So if I do that and then I can't eat, well, what I just covered for what I thought I was going to eat, now I got to figure out how I'm going to get that in my system. Yeah, sure, I can go and drink a bunch of soda and stuff, but you know, that's not going to help anyway. I mean, it helps; it'll bring my blood sugar up, but not in a way that's going to leave me satisfied with my hunger.
Right.
And I need the actual food, and my blood sugar will keep dropping too, because a soda will only hold me off maybe an hour. And so if I can't eat, I'm got to slam soda all night. I mean,
because soda's got quite a bit of sugar in it.
it does.
And
it's
that's
really
what
bad for you in general too.
But yes, especially if you drink like a colored pop, you know, or a soda. I mean, I know they're all, because of the sugar content in them, you know, they are not good for you. But, you know, hey, come on. But you're using them, though, to bring your blood sugar up. So,
well, what I'm saying is that the reason I use the medical marijuana is so that I can eat.
but I'm not
so that
talking
I
about
stay-
the sodas, though.
Oh, the sodas will, yeah, bring it up, but only for a certain amount of time.
But but that's what you'll gravitate to, is the.
Yeah, if I can't eat, most definitely anything that I can, you know, because even sometimes milk, just because it's a little too thick.
And that'll bring your blood sugar up?
Oh yeah, milk will.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, anything, milk, apple juice, orange juice.
Well, I figured the apple juice and orange juice because of the natural sugars that would be in there.
Well,
you
see,
know?
the difference for me though is I don't count the sugars. I go by carbohydrates. Sugars mean nothing to me. It's all
Really?
about carbohydrate for me.
But
So
what if you are very low blood sugar and you're say you didn't have your shots and
Well, see, if my blood sugar goes low, I don't need my shots.
you
If my blood
don't?
sugar's high is when I need them.
Because I'm trying to understand here. So, if your blood sugar
It's high.
is high, you'll need the shots.
Yes, but if it's low,
But
then I don't need to take a shot. I need just some sugar to bring it up a little bit,
and
so that it goes back into the range.
now, when it's low, though, that's when you're when you've got like those drunk symptoms, right? Is that when it's the low, or is that the high?
that's the low. Yeah, you'll get those symptoms like I don't know. I don't know if it's like drunk symptoms or what it is. I just know that.
Well,
Yeah,
I know that
not
might have
right.
been the wrong word to use, but
No, I
you know,
know what
you'll
you
slur your words, or you know, because I've known it
Oh,
when
yeah,
you have
like,
come over several times with low blood sugar. You would be talking to me, and I'd be, "What did you say, Jordan?" You know, I'd have to make you repeat it, and you know, and sometimes you're very hard to understand. You know, and so those are
those
what
are-
I call like drunk symptoms. You know, I mean, I know you're not drunk,
No,
but
no, I know what you mean.
you're not walking straight. You're kind of, you know,
You know, I'll shake is what the main thing is I'll shake and I'll sweat cold sweats.
cold sweats. Yeah, I hate those.
And the way I breathe too.
So how do you take your medical marijuana?
Well, how I do it is, like I was going to say, because of, you know, the whole acid thing and it damaging the nerves in my stomach, I prefer the best way is eating it, and I like to take the hashes and the oils. And I like
Hashes
to
and
eat
oils?
them in what I call, or, you know, hash pills. Or
Right.
oil pills, or whatever the hell you
Cannabis
whatever you
oil
wanna
pills
call it,
is
yeah.
what he's talking about. A lot of people will call them RSO pills because they are referencing Rick Simpson oil. I will not call it RSO. It is cannabis oil. It is oil that comes from the cannabis plant. So it's not the oil that comes from Rick Simpson, okay? It's not Rick Simpson that was planted in the ground and grew and is, giving me this oil. So, I mean no disrespect.
You come knocking on my door. Say, hey, here you go. This will last you, through the apocalypse or something, man. Just keep it, bro.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but I mean, it's cannabis oil. So, now, explain how that. The cannabis oil. So you say you take that in a capsule. You take it like a pill.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do for you, as far as your diabetes go?
Well, for my diabetes, what it does is that. Okay, well, let me go off on the. I just want to explain this part first. For the main thing that it does is it helps my stomach mainly, and what it does is the hash oil. When I take it, I could feel it because the way it melts in my stomach acid, and since it's an oil, I can literally feel it coat my stomach.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Does it get you high?
Oh, it gets me very well medicated.
Very well medicated. Now, we need to... Okay, let me explain, though. Now, you started off on a low dosage, did you not?
Yes, I did. I started off on, I think, about 0.2 of a pill.
Right, and what are you taking now?
I could take anywhere from a half gram or more if I wanted to.
Right, okay, so for the most part, people, it's going to take you a little while to get up to what he's talking about. And when he does do that, well, yes, you are going to get very well medicated. But then, depending on what your illness is, it may call for that.
And that's what I mean by medicated, because it does. By medicated, I mean the way it coats my stomach is that not only does it take away the pain, it doesn't make the burn goes away, the acid reflux burping it up, that goes away too.
Very cool.
And I can eat.
So you said that you also do hash pills. What do those do for you?
Hash pills they basically, I just want to say consist of the bubble hash or water hash or dry hash. I mean, I want to say dry hash is when it's done.
Oh, okay.
Because when it's done, it's dry.
Right. I
guess most people would call it water hash. That is water hash.
Sure.
What am I thinking? That's one of them. And then there's the bubble hash, like I was talking about.
And what does that do?
Well, basically the water hashes and the bubble hashes, when I take those, they more of are like an Alka-Seltzer kind of effect in my stomach. And it basically bubbles throughout my stomach, and it makes the acid just, I don't know, kind of like evaporates it. And I don't mean evaporates it, like eats it away, or I don't know what it is, because I'll start eventually burping it up too. And I'll and I can tell when the bubble hash starts to hit my stomach, because like I said, I can feel the bubble, and then when I start burping up the taste of weed, the burn goes away. I'm not burping up that burn anymore.
Interesting.
I just burp up the taste of the bud, and that's how I know that. Did the same thing with my stomach, and then therefore the acid is gone after I burp up the taste of, marijuana, weed, whatever, a couple of times, and then it's all gone.
And then you're able to eat after that?
Oh yeah, I can eat, and I don't have any stomach pains or anything.
Okay, so let's for the listeners out there, I want to explain. We are in Denver, Colorado, and cannabis was just legalized here 2 days ago. And but we have had medical marijuana since 2000, and so one of the there's like 5 boxes that you can check off to get your medical marijuana license, and one of those boxes to check off is severe nausea. So
yes,
and that's what you checked off. So
yeah.
And actually, was there not a problem in the very beginning when you went in and said that
you were the one? Because I went in there and I asked them, or they asked me, "What's your problem?" And I said, "I have diabetes," and they're like, "No, we can't do it." And I was, I was only 18 years old at the time, you know, trying to get my license for my first time for, you know, the whole fucking diabetes and everything, and they said no, and I didn't know. I was kind of like, okay, and I turned, and that's when you stepped in and you started telling them, you know, that wasn't right.
Well,
And you told her
basically what I had told them.
You explained it for me, basically.
Well, I did. And I was, you know, talking to a doctor when I was talking. So,
Yeah.
you know, I had to make him understand. So I had to talk to him in his language, you know. And I was basically using their language. You know, it was written right there. You know, I mean, you would come to me and say, man, I can't eat. You know, I'm just nauseous all the damn time. You know, well,
Yeah.
okay, well, there's nauseous right there. You know, nausea. You know, and so,
Yeah, that's true.
well, yeah, and so I explained to him about, you know, if he's nauseous all the time for a diabetic, you know, they have got to eat to be able to keep their blood sugar at a normal rate, and that was the lines that I went on, and he agreed with me. Now, you know, when we come back, I'm gonna explain why, you know, while you said that you've been on the medical marijuana registry for 5 years now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, the one that runs that medical marijuana division here in Colorado, they have a fraud department. So if they thought that was fraud in any way, they would have definitely
done something about it, that's for sure.
And have you gotten any, like, phone
No, I haven't
calls or
gotten any
visits
phone calls,
or?
any complaints, anything like that.
So to me, that says that it's legal beagle. They don't think anything's wrong, and
Yeah.
well, you know. So, anyways, we're gonna go to commercial, and we'll be right back. We're back, man. And so what we were talking about before was your medical marijuana card and the fraud division with Colorado
Yeah.
Department of Public Health and Environment. And before that, we were just talking about well, blood sugar and stuff like that. So there was a article just not too not too long ago from Medical Daily, and the headline is "Medical Marijuana May Lower Blood Sugar, Help Diabetics Control Disease," and it says the study of medical marijuana seems to be gathering steam as another new study of its health benefits was published today in the American Journal of Medicine. In a multi-center collaboration, researchers found that regular marijuana use was associated with better blood sugar control in diabetics. According to Elsevier press release, the team reported that marijuana use was linked to lower fasting insulin and lower risk of insulin resistance. That's pretty cool, I think. So
Yeah, because believe me, I mean, look, let's put it like this. my first trip to the hospital was my fault. My second trip to the hospital because of my diabetes was because I was getting too used to my insulin. My body was not rejecting it. It would accept it, but it would use it like that.
Wow.
It would use it fast. And I was like, what the? I just gave myself the same amount I'm supposed to, but I was doing that for so long and my body got used to it.
Right.
So I had to
you
completely
built a
go on.
tolerance to it.
Yeah, but see, that was during the time when I wasn't ingesting it as much.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you ingest it on a more
I'm sorry.
constant basis now, right?
Yeah, I try to whenever I can. If I have some bud on me, I'll make a little bit of bud tea or whatever, anything to do
Right.
to eat it. Like I said, I'm a grazer. I like to eat it.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with eating it because I've eaten it for a long time myself, man. You know what I mean? And I use it for my liver. I eat the oil and the hash for my liver. So, but that's another show. So, yeah. Do you want me to go on a little bit more about this? All right. So
yeah. Let's do the rest of it. That's pretty interesting.
all right. So the team used data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey and studied 4,657 patients who answered the questions on drug use. Of these, 579 were current marijuana users, 1,957 were former users, and 2,103 had never used. Fasting insulin and glucose levels were measured in all patients. They found that recent use in marijuana was correlated with lower levels of fasting insulin and smaller chance of insulin resistance. This correlation was weaker in people who were former marijuana users, suggesting the effects on insulin persist so long as cannabis is used regularly. So that definitely goes with what you're saying right there. Your blood sugars would fluctuate when you just ate it on a...
And don't get me wrong, I was eating more food, but I thought I was doing it right. I was going off of the scale that I've been going off of for years, ever since I was 10 years old.
Right.
Same scale. Sure, that scale's upped my insulin a little bit, and sometimes it's gone down, sometimes it's gone up. But still, I'm using that scale, and to be honest, I listen to my body. I don't let a doctor tell me how my body is, basically, because of the fact that, I know how I feel. They don't know how I feel. When I say something's wrong with my diabetes, I know something's wrong.
Right.
That's why when they say that a high blood sugar is 237, I'm looking at them going, are you kidding me? A high blood sugar to me is 300 or above.
Wow.
237 is yeah, that's not good, but like I said, I do a lot of working out, so I won't eat, and I'll do some working out and stuff like that, and next thing you know, my blood sugar will be in check. But when I use the medical marijuana, it does the exact same thing. Because what it does is that it makes you hungry again, and it lowers your glucose level. So what I'll do instead of working out is, I'll get medicated, and I'll feel good or whatever, but my blood sugars will go down as long as I control myself and I don't go, I'm gonna go munch on something.
Right.
If anything, I'll just sit there or I'll go to sleep.
Because the oil will lower your blood pressure as well. So I wonder if there's a direct correlation between your blood pressure and your blood sugars.
To be honest, I couldn't tell you if there was or not. My dad has high blood pressure, that's all I know.
Does it?
But I really don't know if there's any... I honestly don't know if there's any relation to... there could be. I'm not saying that there isn't. Like I said, I have no idea. It's not a theory that I would say that doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me. Your blood pressure goes out, starts acting up, why not your blood sugars? Because your blood sugars can go out of whack from anything, an adrenaline rush, from getting, scared or mad, or, you get too mad. Like, my blood sugar, when I get mad, it goes high. Some people's blood sugars can go low. When I get scared, my blood sugar goes low. Some people's blood sugar will go high, but that's another thing about, control for and that's one hard thing to control too when you get scared or get mad.
Right.
I know that
Right.
for a fact.
Oh, sure.
But
Yeah.
you can just not let your blood sugars mess with you. Like, you just gotta, know that you're under control. Like, don't get too mad, or if you get scared. Like, I understand. There's been times I've gotten so scared I thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
Right.
And my blood sugar will go low. But what I'll do is I'll take a couple breaths, relax my body, and next thing I know, I'll think it was all just in my head. I thought my blood sugar went low, but it really didn't, because the next thing I know, I feel fine. My blood sugar's not low. Or it's
Very
not high.
interesting.
It just spikes out of control for a minute.
Wow.
That's what happens to me.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, I know my body.
Right.
I've
Right.
listened to my body for years.
Well, see, that's the thing. If people would really listen to their body, and paid attention to what was going on, they would realize that they could do a lot of their own self-diagnosis, and don't have to rush to the doctor. I mean,
And don't get me wrong.
don't
I
get me
do
wrong. You
understand.
will know if you have to go.
Yeah.
And if you have to go, please go. I am not advocating that.
Yeah, right.
That you don't go see a doctor.
Like,
when
oh,
you
no,
need-
don't go to the doctor. Just
Right?
feel it out for a minute. Like, I swear I'm having a heart attack. Just feel it out, bro. Like,
Yeah,
you're not having a
yeah,
heart
just-
attack. Don't worry.
Just suck it up. Be a man. Man up.
Suck it up. That's funny.
So, but the last bit of the, there's another paragraph, but it's really, anyways, but it says, insulin levels were 16% lower in marijuana users than in participants who had never used, they used the word drug, and I hate that word when they use drug in place of cannabis. That just to me
Right.
is,
That's not.
cannabis is not a drug. It's an herb. It's from this
It really
earth.
is.
It is, from the creator above, man. I mean, this is his plant that he gave to us, so, it's not a drug. And you'll never, ever hear me call it a drug. There's no way in hell I will.
Right.
I mean, and trust me, I've been in court because I got raided, but that's another show. But I was in court, and they couldn't get me to say anything else, but it was my medication, and it was cannabis. And it's not a drug. I would fight them on it, and I'm telling you, I was high all through court. The judge would ask me, oh, are you on any drugs that would, impair your judgment to be able to make this? Oh, no, I'm good, Your Honor. I ain't on no drugs. Hell no.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I wasn't
what I asked
on
you.
no
Are you on
drugs.
drugs? I
Hell
don't
no, I
consider
ain't on
medical
no
marijuana
drugs.
a drug either.
I'm on this herb right here.
Hey, just because I'm medicated doesn't mean I can't function. Like, and here's one of the things too, I'm not the type of person, because my father's always beating into my head that, weed makes you lazy, and my older brother's always said it too. It makes you lazy and don't want to do anything, and I don't believe that.
Right?
Because, there's been times where I've gotten super stoned. I'm sorry, I say super stoned because I'm talking when I was younger, in my high school days, 14, 15 years old, and we go try and skateboard, and it's like, dude, I can't do this when I'm stoned. I gotta go sit down.
Right.
But I got to the point where, that's not true, because my dad tried to beat it into my head so much, and I know it's not true. Because I can go out there, I can go smoke a joint, 2 joints, and I can go home and I can work out and sweat like a motherfucker.
Well,
sweat.
Look, I am a medical marijuana patient, but I do smoke it recreationally as well.
Well, I do too.
So as far as the non-medical marijuana patients go, really, you're only one illness or one injury away from, really needing to make that choice of whether you want medical marijuana or you want to go with the doctor. But that's the beautiful thing about it. You know what it is? It is your choice. You have that freedom to make that choice, especially here in Colorado, Washington, all those medical marijuana states now. But especially here in Colorado right now. I know people are saying that prohibition is over. I do not like that. Man, prohibition is not over in Colorado, okay? Because there's still patients and caregivers getting prosecuted in the courts.
Yeah.
You know, there's still brothers and sisters in prison here in Colorado for nonviolent marijuana offenses. You know, and honestly, I wish I wouldn't have said nonviolent. I'm just going to say marijuana offenses. You know, because
I know what you mean by nonviolent, because it's not like it was we have a domestic dispute over here and it's because of marijuana.
Right. You know, there's 0 deaths from marijuana. You know, you can't say that about prescription pills.
Yeah.
You can't say that about alcohol.
Yeah.
You can't, you know, so as far as I'm
You can't
concerned...
say it about cigarettes, you can't say it about... I mean, there's more deaths on a cough syrup than there is on marijuana. Because marijuana's never killed anybody.
Right? Well, yeah.
I mean, you may have eaten
more
some you
people
thought
die
you were
from
gonna
aspirins every year.
Yeah. I mean, you may have been the type of person who's eaten enough and you thought you were going to die or something like that, but were you not alive the next day?
Right, right. Yeah, it's, yeah, I'm, you know, people need to understand, you know, this is the freedom. It's your freedom to be able to choose, you know, and if you feel like medical marijuana helps you for your diabetes, you know what, you shouldn't have to hide. You shouldn't have to feel bad that you're choosing an you know, they're calling it alternative medicine. Somebody changed my mind on that subject. Why call it alternative medicine when it used to be the original medicine? You know, so they are right because of the fact that Western medicine hasn't been around very long, and the earliest writings of cannabis was like 5,000 BC in China. So that's...
Yeah, in fact, there's something that says that right here.
Is it?
It's about the tinctures. It says tinctures have been around for a very long time. The first inscriptions found in India date back to more than 9,000 BC.
Oh, 9,000.
With Chinese stone inscriptions following, which are more than 4,000 years old BC.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just the beginning of it.
And you got that off of a moth.
Yes, off of a medicine of the herb chart here.
Right on. Right on.
Tinctures and elixirs.
Well, you
So
know,
look what it says about the chronic pain. It says 4 levels of headaches from mild, moderate migraines, and migraines accompanied by vomiting.
vomiting and blindness, actually. You know, and there's actually one other migraine headache that is above the migraine that's accompanied with puking and the blindness. And you know what? The only thing that cures that? Acid.
Really?
Yes, and
what kind of migraine is that exactly?
I'll have to look it up. I can't remember the exact scientific name for it, but there's a certain university, I think it's the University of Berkeley, that is commissioned by the DEA to make 28 hits a year for this. And this one patient uses it for their migraines. So,
Wow.
right?
See, that's something crazy right there. I mean, I don't want to get too deep into
But that's
this,
another
but-
show as well. But go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to throw this in there, but you know that's something crazy because that's one of the drugs that was a Schedule 1. And
Right.
Schedule 1 are all drugs that they never did studies on, which was marijuana, acid, shrooms, and peyote.
But see,
They never did studies on those though because they were all, I don't know, from what I learned, you know, was they were all the drugs that made you the free thinker. That's why they were C1. They were bad drugs. But for it to cure a headache like that, well,
it does have
That's
medicinal purposes.
yeah, that's a whole different story right there. I mean, because look at all the studying they've done on, you know, medical marijuana.
Right.
And look where it's come to.
That's true.
They could
And I
be
mean,
doing
why
it
would
with one
DEA
dose.
give that college permission to make
Yeah, exactly right.
acid? You know, and
Yeah.
I know they can only make so many hits of acid per year.
But still, they got the
But he-
verification, the okay to go ahead and, yeah, here you go ahead, make this acid for this guy.
Oh yeah, and they've come out and said, oh yeah, we've got the cleanest and purest acid in the world. That's pretty
Wow.
wild, ain't it?
That is. I mean, I've personally never have done acid, but that is really crazy. Don't get me wrong, I've done mushrooms, but
Right.
never done acid.
Well, you know what? Mushrooms can be
Yeah,
medicinal and spiritual as well. You
Yes,
know,
they
I
can.
mean,
Yeah, but you ask some people and they'll just say, "Oh, it's because you were tripping." I don't know. When I did it, my whole question was, "Well, how do you know I'm really tripping? How do you know that didn't
how do
just
you know
happen?"
I'm just not awake?
Exactly. They say it puts you into the dream world. Apparently, that's another thing I heard. But I was plenty awake. So
right.
was that really the dream world?
Nah, you know, I mean, this is a cool conversation here, man. I mean, I'm hoping that a lot of people are kind of learning some new things here because, honestly, I know I've heard reports where, diabetes is on the rise, man. I mean, and I'm talking like 30 some odd % on the rise, and that's a huge number. Huge number.
Oh yeah.
And why is that?
Well,
I do know why. I mean,
yeah, I know why too. It's because that McDonald's commercial that comes on and says, "Look at this Big Mac and this fries." You know you want this kind of commercial. All strutting it and throwing it out there, and you go, I want
Right.
that Big Mac and fries."
right? And then those are
Not just McDonald's; it's all of them.
oh sure. I mean, that's the leading cause of obesity right there.
Oh, it really is. And obesity is because of obesity, it is one of the causes of diabetes type 2.
And honestly, it's kind of sad, but the world around us, thinks we're a fat, lazy, overweight country.
Oh, yeah. I can see.
Honestly,
I can see why, because I remember hearing that one time they said that they were going to take, I don't know if this ever happened, but I remember hearing that they were going to take, it was sit-ups or something like that out of the military.
Oh, that
I was like, are you kidding me?
That makes me mad. As a vet myself, that had to go through an 11-week.
I actually think it was you who told me that.
An 11-week basic training. I personally didn't have any problem with the PT test. I passed the sit-ups, the push-ups, all of it, with no problems. But I did know people in there that, couldn't do sit-ups or push-ups. And they made them either go back through basic training or get kicked out because you couldn't do...
Yeah, because you couldn't do a push-up or a sit-up. Yeah.
Exactly. And I personally know these people that decided to go back through basic training, and not just once, but go back twice. So they ended up doing basic training 3 times before they could actually do the required amount of sit-ups and push-ups required to pass that PT test. And then for me to hear that they were going to take out the sit-ups because the soldiers could not, for whatever reason,
Because they couldn't do them because...
I
I don't mean to say... I'm not hating. I don't mean to say it like this, but they couldn't do it because they were too fat.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh,
that kind of cheeses my
all
butt
of these people
a
are
little
too
bit.
fat to do a sit-up, so... but they can do a push-up, so let's just take the sit-ups out.
Right?
What?
Come on, man.
Okay, well, let's give them a fucking baton to go out and fight with instead of a fucking gun.
Give them a little fucking twirly thing, with frills on the end,
When they go see the enemy, they'll throw it up in the air, and the enemy will shoot them in the head, and...
But hey, look, I know we're joking right now, but I do want to make it clear, I do support our troops, I do support our military, I mean...
I come from a military background.
Yeah.
Because of the diabetes, I couldn't join the military, or else I would have probably probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now, honestly. I'd probably still be in the military.
Right. So I don't want anybody out there to think that I'm dogging on the military.
I'm not
the
dogging on
troops.
the military.
I am not. I've got
The
nothing but
system.
love and respect for them. But as like I said, as an old school vet, though, I had problems with that. But that's just my personal opinion, and I am entitled to my own opinion, whether
Well,
you like
my
it or
dad
not.
had problems with that. My brother had problems with that. If I personally could have gone into the military and I would have been there long enough and they would have said that, I would have had problems with that. I mean, I have problems with it now when I wasn't even in the military. I just don't think that's right. Yeah, can't do a sit-up. That's like saying, let's take the pull-ups out next and then the push-ups and then,
Right.
what do you have then? Nothing. You can't take anything out. You should have made it harder. That's what I would have done. I would have made it harder.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Come on, man. But, it's a different time, different era, different people, generation of people. But, nonetheless, I don't know. It's not the same military that I, when I was in. But, hey, it's all good. So, actually, yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a break here. So, we'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Welcome. And so we were just kind of jawing before a commercial break, but we're going to get kind of back on topic for our last segment here. We're going to go back to the medical marijuana part and your diabetes. And you were talking about, did you mention edibles?
I did mention edibles in a way, but all I really talked about was the hash pills and the hash oil pills.
So, but you do edibles?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I do actually. I do any kind of edible, honestly. And what I do at home is I have medicated butters and medicated like olive oil, because anything I cook with, I like to cook with olive oil, just because once again, olive oil is a very healthy thing. And it is great for any diet.
Uh-huh.
And it gives you all natural energy as well.
Olive oil is a wonderful thing.
But I should specify it's 100% extra virgin olive oil. That's the one. But that's what it's medicated. I have olive oils medicated in butters.
Right on. So, saute?
You can do anything with them. I mean, if you make your eggs with butter.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Go ahead
Right.
and,
You don't need
melt
oil
the
for
butter
that.
in the
Right.
pan. Throw the eggs in there. Me personally, I make my eggs with oil.
Okay.
Because I like my oil. But, if I'm going to make a stack of pancakes for myself,
Uh-huh.
I'll use that medicated butter.
Oh, yeah, that
Throw it
sounds
right on the
good,
stack of
man.
pancakes.
Get some medicated,
And you can even go outside the box. You can make medicated pizzas out of... You don't even have to have the oils. You can just have the dry herb
right?
as itself and just break it up and sprinkle it onto the top of the pizza, under how you'd make it. Like, obviously anybody who makes pizza is going to make it with the sauce first and then the cheese. Well, do it with the sauce on there. Sprinkle that, butt on there or whatever. Crush it up and throw it on there. And then you put the cheese and whatever else you want on there cooking. Got yourself a very nice medicated pizza there.
Right on.
I mean, you can do
Yeah,
it with
that would
pastas.
almost be like a pesto almost type of...
Yeah, just about. Yeah. Basically, if you were to use the oil, it'd be almost just like a pesto. But I think I don't know. I mean, if you were to try to eat it like a pesto and bread, it'd be a little bit more gritty.
Right. Yeah. No, that's cool. You know, I mean, but that's the whole thing, though, is keeping the THC level up in your body, and you know, because that's like a Percocet or prescription pills. You know, the doctors will tell you don't go off of them. You want to keep your dosage and they want your times at the same time you take your pills every day. You know, they want you to get on a routine, and you know, because they want you to build
a certain amount of a tolerance.
Right. You know, and the same thing goes with medical marijuana. You got to have THC build up in your body because we all have it's an endocannabinoid system, and our CB1, CB2 receptors that are in there have direct correlation with pain. Now, you know, if it's like the oil molecules is like putting a cap on those CB1 receptors, and I wish I had a little picture where I can show you guys, but if this receptor has one below and one right above it, and if you can imagine like two mushrooms looking things, okay, one mushroom is standing upright, and there's a mushroom upside down looking pointed right above the one that's standing up, right? And a little electrical shocks will go in between those two, right? And you're feeling the pain, okay? So the CB1, the oil molecule will come and cover.
So that way it doesn't get the electrical shock.
So the electrical shock can't go up there.
It can't
And
down.
right, so it's making it think that it's.
Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
It's making it think that it doesn't need to fire because each time that electrical shock goes up there, it's firing. That's what it's called. It's firing, and when it fires, that's when you're.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that. I learned something new tonight. I did not know that.
Oh, that's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad but that's basically how it works. I hope I
understand.
I don't know
what
if
you're
I
saying.
explained
don't have
it
pictures,
well
but
enough
I
for the
understand.
people that are listening, you know. But I mean, yeah, it's quite interesting though. It's a wonderful thing. So you know, I mean, that's the thing: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You use butters for anything. Your toast, your oils, like you said. You know, you can even probably turn that olive oil into a salad dressing as well.
Oh yeah, oil,
you know.
and balsamic and vinaigrette. You know, mix it with the olive oil. There you go. There's your salad dressing. You can eat it cold because olive oil is based as a cold oil. Like that's how it's supposed to be used, is as a cold oil.
Right. Well, it is run through a cold pressed process.
See, I'll use olive oil. Sorry, excuse me. I'll use olive oil as a hot oil. I mean, I will heat it up, but I won't heat it up to a certain point because you don't want to heat up any oil in a pan to the point where it starts smoking. When it starts smoking, that is very bad.
Right. The vapors are toxic, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah. It makes the oil itself toxic.
Oh,
as
the
well.
oil itself.
Well, because the vapors, because it's basically what you did was you broke that oil down so much you just made it a chemical. You made a chemical reaction with the oil and the heat that it just broke down so much. I can't remember exactly what it is. I wish.
But it makes sense. I
the guy who
understand
was
what
here
you're
that I can
saying.
talk to, yeah, because me and him were talking about it, and he's a chef, and he was telling me about that. You know, back in the day, you know, even with old style Italian cooking, like that puff of smoke was the sign, like, oh, that's when you start throwing your spices and, you know, anything you're going to saute up in, because the oil's nice and hot, and it'll saute it nice and good.
Right.
But that puff of smoke they've come to find out, is that it's cancerous.
Very interesting.
Like it can
See,
give
that's
you
kind
certain
of
types of cancer from if you inhale it or.
that's kind of like the cannabis oil. Okay, so basically, what you're trying to do is you're taking that trichome off of the plant, and then the bubble part of the trichome, the mushroom part of the trichome, with the heat process, you're trying to break that open. But see, you only want to break it open and allow the oil to escape. You don't want it to overheat and actually burn the trichome up and burn the oil up as well.
Yeah.
So I can understand with the olive oil that you're breaking it down too much when you overcook it or overheat while cooking it. So
Yeah, see, and even with but what I do is like I said, I cook it with I use it as a cold oil. So what I'll do instead of letting it get that puff of smoke, or get hot to it start smoking at any type, is you just watch it for a second. When it starts to splinter, and by I mean splinter, it doesn't look like how it was. Like, think of unsettled water. How when you look across unsettled water, like how it looks. Like, you can tell water that's perfectly still, it looks flat. But water that's unsettled and moving, it's not flat. It has like little ripples in it. That's called splintering with the oil. You look for those little like ripples.
right.
And that's when you throw your stuff in and start cooking. And that way you won't burn the medical marijuana or however you infused it with the oil or the butter. That's the way you won't burn it.
Right, because some people will say that, if you, right, so you know how much heat you can give it without ruining the THC effect.
See, I couldn't tell you an exact temperature. I just know by personal look, smell, and I don't know, just the way it cooks.
Right, because
I couldn't tell you by a certain temperature. I don't know.
Because
that.
you had mentioned pizza, and you put, because I remember that pizza. That was a good pizza.
It was very good pizza.
And it got you high. Got you messed up, man.
Yes, we made both styles. We made the red sauce and the barbecue.
Yes, it did. And I got to tell you, now we did that at 500 degrees for 17 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Or 11?
No, we only did it, I think actually, because it was a little oven, I'm pretty sure it was about 12, 13 minutes at the most, but I don't know, because when I cook at work, because I do work in a pizzeria, mom and pop shop, and when I'm at work, our pizzas take anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes to cook.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, but it depends on the oven. Let too much heat escape.
Right.
It's got to heat back up again.
But
so it's going to take longer to cook.
I know at 500 degrees, at that 11 minutes, 12 minutes that we did it, it didn't ruin it whatsoever.
No, not at all. And that's one reason why I say too, because I think, personally, I think it would have ruined it if we would have sprinkled it on the top of everything. Because then it would have been on the top and it would have burned. But therefore, since it was with the sauce, because I don't remember if you remember me mixing the sauce with a little bit of water and a little bit of oil.
Right.
Since it was right on top of the sauce, I think that's what also, helped as well. Because, I mean, if you were to throw it on top, it's just going to burn it. I mean, because look at some of the toppings on pizza, crispy, pepperonis or whatever, Stuff gets crispier up there,
Right,
I throw some spinach on a pizza, I could throw a big old handful, and when I pull it out, it doesn't look like I threw anything on there because it all shrivels up.
Right.
So, that's why I put it on the sauce. It's because I knew that at that high of a temperature, because it's very hard to figure out how to cook with weed. It is very hard to figure out. That's why I said I don't know exact temperatures. I just know by the way it looks, smells, and the way it cooks, and the way it tastes.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a medicated cooking show. And then as you're cooking it, we can tell the people what degrees you got it at, what it looks like, and,
Yeah, because I just know, I'm sorry. Yeah, that would be a very good idea.
I think it would, man. We're going to have to work on that one. I'm going to have to get it with the group. And
there's certain ways you can do it. I'm telling you, you can make anything with it. You can make your basic oils pasta with the oil. You can make buttery noodles. I mean, you can go as far as baking cakes, cupcakes, muffins, brownies, cookies, all the stuff that they already have. But I mean, you can go as far as even a pot roast. You spice up the pot roast, right? You just gotta,
right?
You gotta know how to do it in a certain sense. If you know how to cook, then you'll know how to do it.
Well, I tell you, one of my personal favorites is the chicken breast that is marinated in the blackberry brandy tincture.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Oh my
that
goodness.
one was very good. And how you do that one, I'll give you guys a little, I don't know if I can give it a good tip right now, but how you do it is as you're cooking your chicken, you throw that brandy in there, the medicated brandy, the tincture, you throw it in there right when you're getting that chicken nice and hot. And yeah, you're going to see a big flame, but it's gonna be good.
Oh my goodness, let me tell you people, it is, oh my goodness, awesome. It is, oh man, the flavor is
yeah,
just.
that one was, I'd have to say that was one of the better ones.
Right?
It's
right?
just like cooking with wine. If you know how to cook with white vinegar wine, it's the same thing.
Right? See, and that creamy Alfredo, medicated Alfredo sauce.
Oh yeah, the
pasta.
Parmesan cream. Parmesan cream pasta.
Man, that was awesome as well. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah. That one was I do admit, like, I wish we got to do another one. I'll make the oils pasta now, and I'll make it killer. There's no doubt about it. But when I first did that oil pasta, it was when I was kind of first learning. And I hate to say it, but it was John's fault because I said pour a little bit of olive oil in there, and I turn it around and he dumps the whole thing in there. I was like, dude, like nobody it tastes kind of oily. Look at John.
But people might not know it, but moth is an acronym for medicine of the herb. Okay, and when we started out, we were going to open up a medical marijuana restaurant. And so we have a full line breakfast, lunch, and dinner menu. And
and see isn't the mess up? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it that they wouldn't let you open that because you wanted to do it basically like when I say mom and pop style, I mean it's authentic homemade kind of cooking. Like,
everything was made from scratch.
It's not exactly. It wasn't stuff that's delivered to you.
Oh no, no.
That's why they wouldn't let you do it. Right?
And actually, the restaurant was going to be self-sustained. It was going to have its own farm, employ the workers to work the farm. We were going to grow our own vegetables, raise our own meat. That way we could, control the quality from the very beginning, know what was going in the food and what was, we were going to make our own breads. And
basically, it was going to be, basically just all organic, right?
Oh, yeah, yes. And there was going to be two kitchens. One was going to be a medicated kitchen for the patients, and then the other one was going to be the non-medicated side for, like, the caregivers that didn't want to get medicated or, the people that were driving that just wanted a regular meal.
The workers, stuff like that.
Or the workers, right. But they would have been separate, so there would have been no cross-contamination or anything like that. We were going to offer
and not everybody can function while they're very well medicated at work.
Right, well, we were going to offer shuttle service back home for people back home, and we would have brought their cars, and we were going to offer Meals on Wheels for patients that can't get out of bed or out of their homes. But the state of Colorado denied us at that time. But now we're hoping that, maybe with the passage of legalization of marijuana here in Colorado, maybe that will change now. Maybe we might be able to open up now. So
maybe. That would be very cool.
Definitely check things out, man. I mean, that would be a very cool thing. So,
I'm sorry to cut you off there. Another tip I'd like to give out for diabetics at home or anybody just trying to stay healthy in general. I'm no doctor. I'm no physicist. I'm not trying to say I'm a professional by no means. I just know how my body works and what has worked for me. And that has been reasons of the doctors saying, well, this is certain reasons this hasn't happened to him and that hasn't. Because of how I diet, and one diet tip, which is one of the best things, I'm pretty sure a lot of you know this, is juicers.
Oh yeah, that's especially getting big now. Juicing with cannabis.
Oh, and especially with the cannabis, you can do it any way too. I mean, you can take that. I'm not saying any of the oils or the butters, but you can take the hash oil, or you can take the bubble hash, or the water hash, or even just plain old regular bud herb.
Right, and you can take it right off of the plant. as
Yeah,
it's
you
growing.
could take it. Yeah, you
Whether
don't
it
even
be
have to
in
wait
the
for it to
veg
dry
stage
anything.
or in the flower stage, because even in the veg stage, that plant is producing THCs, CBDs, CBGs, THCV. So it's still giving you all that good stuff, even though it don't have the flower yet. And that's where your most potent medication is going to come from. But juicing that way has many, many medical benefits. So, I mean, you can use the factory leaves, you can use whatever part of that plant that you really, that you want to use, and it's going to be beneficial. So, yeah, that's very, sorry guys, I've got the hiccups here, or the burps. I drank too much water just a second ago, so. All right, back on topic.
But yeah, the juicers they're a very good thing. I mean, I use them, and then when I do it, a lot of people, like my dad was the one who got me into it. Okay, you know that he was the one who got me into it. But how he would do it is he would always give me little glasses of the stuff, and I was like, oh, like this tastes good. Like he's like, oh, you want a little bit? And I'd be like, yeah, I do want to try a little bit, because the first time I was like, no. Second time, no. Even the third time, no. And then they just try it. You might like it. Because he would always add certain things to it, like, well, maybe he'll like this one. And they would always be different. Every time he'd be like, oh, well, it's got this, and this in it. And I'd be like, nah. And one day he caught my attention, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I took a little sip, and it was the greatest thing I'd ever tasted, honestly. I was like, wow. I was like, that was sweet and good all in one. I was like, I'll drink a cup of that. And he would always do the little cups. How I do my juicers, and it makes me feel great. And it really keeps my blood sugars under control. Is I'll drink an entire blender full just for breakfast.
Wow.
But that takes a lot of getting used to, because, and don't get me wrong,
Right, you're going to be amped on the vegetable.
You'll get, what I call it is the zone, and you'll be zoning it for a good hard second there until that stuff digests. But don't get me wrong, about the first week you're going to be bathrooming it, I guess.
Yeah, shit and green for a week.
Yeah, you won't. You'll be going to the bathroom about 3-4 times a day. The next thing you know, you'll be going to the bathroom less and less every day.
Well, you're cleansing out your body.
Yeah, and it's
so
using all the nutrition.
you're getting all the toxins out, and so it is beneficial for you. I mean, not everybody can get those toxins out. So if you can do it cheap and economical, and juicing is one of those ways, then I say go for it. You're not going to do anything but help yourself.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. Juicing is one of the best ways to go. I mean, I'm not saying just, you could base your diet just off of juicing, but
for the listeners out there, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Give them your formula for your juicing. What do you put in yours?
To be honest with you, I'll put any and every vegetable that I can in there. I mean, the best thing to do is do it half frozen vegetables, half fresh.
Okay.
When I say half frozen, go get a good thing of frozen vegetables, stuff that, what I always used was basically stir-fry vegetables.
Okay.
Frozen vegetables, and that had it all in there.
Right.
And for my fresh vegetables, I would use carrots, celery, kale, cucumber. I just say carrot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And there'd be cucumber. What else was it? Spinach.
Spinach, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Fresh leaf spinach?
Yeah, fresh spinach. Yeah, and like I said, any other vegetable that I would have in the fridge, but those were the main basic ones that I'd make sure I put in there.
Uh-huh.
Was the carrots, kale, celery, spinach, and I'm sorry, I forgot the other one again.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I promise you I was listening to you.
I'm pretty sure I was listening too, but I just forgot.
So do you got fruits as well?
Oh yeah, I do fruits as well. Yeah, fruit and vegetable, and I do protein as well. I do the scoop of the powdered protein. I don't like to do the eggs. I would do just raw eggs, but I don't know, with all the stuff that, if you don't get real good, like real eggs, I mean, all the stuff that they put in eggs today, raw egg can give you like salmonella or E.
Right,
coli,
it's kind of
stuff
scary
like that.
to do it that, especially
That's
with
why
all
I
the
won't
reports
use
of
eggs.
this chicken farm's been shut down because of, contamination and recall of eggs. And, it's kind of scary, if you don't grow your own or know, where you're buying it from.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I am not going to trust any egg that's in Walmart. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to.
I do cook them up to a certain... I cook my eggs to a certain point than what most people do, just because of that reason. Most people look at my eggs and say, they're burned, or that's too dark, or whatever. I look at them and say, that's perfect.
Right.
I know everything's dead in that. That's the way you do it. And you gotta cook them up. But I would... Like when you had your chickens, I would have taken those eggs any day over a Walmart egg.
Right. Well, you knew what I was feeding them, though.
Yeah, but even regular brown or organic eggs at Walmart, if I can afford them, I'll take them.
Those chickens were funny, man. Let me tell you, people. Okay, this is going off subject, but okay, these chickens, yes, they had a chicken coop, but I would let them out, and I would let them run the yard. And they loved bud. Let me tell you. When you were smoking a joint, you really had to watch your joint.
Even a cigarette, because they got...
Well, they didn't know...
what the difference was at first. They'd snatch anything that was lit, thinking it was bud.
And book. And I mean, they would fucking run, and you start chasing, they'd be... trying to...
Can you imagine a chicken running with a cigarette hanging out of its mouth, looking like it's smoking? That's how they would do it.
It was the funniest damn thing you'd see, but I'm
really
telling you, and they
joint.
were accurate with those peckers too, boy. They would grab the joint and not touch your fingers at all. All you would do is feel the joint exiting your fingers. You
dropped it until you looked down and saw the chicken running across the yard. You're like, oh, you little bastard, get over here. You're like, give me that back. Oh yeah, I remember that, dude. That stuff was priceless. I mean, after a minute, you try to get mad, but it'd just be so funny watching the chicken run, looking like it's smoking a joint or smoking a cigarette, hanging out his mouth,
running the fastest she can, man. I mean, booking.
Oh yeah, hilarious.
Oh, funny
running
stuff.
So they could just eat it.
Oh, whoa! Look at that.
Oh, the spider?
Yeah. He's a fried spider. Yeah, he is no more. Because people that don't know, I do not like spiders. Okay? I am afraid of spiders. And
yeah, me too.
this thing just come down on a web right in front of my face. Now, how I manage not to scream like a little girl, I don't know.
I'm glad you guys didn't hear that, right? It would have been pretty bad, but
right? I'm pretty proud of myself right there. Alright guys, we're gonna end this up, and Jordan, I thank you for coming over and allowing us to do this, and I mean, I hope you
hey, not a problem. I had a good time being on, man.
Yeah, I hope you allow us to do this again, because I definitely want to do that cooking show with you, man. I mean, and diet, I think that's a very important issue. So I mean, I know for a fact we're gonna do one of those shows, but I'm definitely not sure when, but we're gonna set it up. So we hope you guys enjoyed the interview, and we will be back with another interview with another patient next week, and we hope you join us. So you have a good week, and we'll talk to you later. Peace and love. So if you have any questions about the interview with Jordan Cotto, please email us at medicineoftheherb@gmail.com, or you can get us up on our Facebook page at facebook.com/moth, MOTH, and that's all capital letters. And we're going to get them to him, and we'll get him back on, and we'll have him answer any of the questions that you guys have. So, right now I would like to give a shout out to some individuals here, and the first one's going to be Pony Boy. He's Los Marihuanos. He's a hip hop group out of California, and we're gonna be partnering up. I think we're gonna be carrying his show here in Denver, and he's gonna be carrying our show out there in California. So I'm real excited to hook up and do some work with them, and hopefully you'll be listening in, and here shortly we'll have some Puff Tough TV coming to Moth Networks. So anyways, I would also like to give a shout out to Dr. DB Cush and his crew, V Jams and DJ Longhair Don't Care, all over at One Blunt Radio. Great group of guys, man. They were just featured on CNN. So I gotta say, awesome job, guys. That's a hell of a feat. Couple, local boys, local company getting on CNN like that. That's pretty doggone cool. I'm glad to call you guys friends, man. And DB Kush, I haven't forgotten about you, brother, man. I'm gonna be popping over with some fresh cannabis oil for you, man. So, we'll be seeing you soon. Well, that's it for our show today, and we hope you enjoyed, and we will be hopefully edit.
Did they all enjoyed our show? Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next week with more.
There you go. So we hope you enjoyed our show, and we'll be seeing you next week for another episode and another interview. So until then, you guys have a great week. Peace and one love. We're out of here.
Peace.